Hello there. My name is Ellen Booth and I'm a registered clinical hypnotherapist. Also, I am an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I had a very traumatic childhood where I was sexually abused and I was emotionally abused, where they tortured my mind. I was also physically abused, where I was physically beaten. I experienced immense suffering as a result of all of that, and I suffered greatly throughout my whole adult life, right up to the age of 43, and I am now 44 years old. In 2003, when I was 22 years old, I began my training as a hypnotherapist, and I studied for 2 years with the London College of Clinical Hypnotherapy. I performed around 20 years of therapy on myself to recover from my childhood traumas. I had some help from other therapists, but very little. Most of the therapy that I did it on myself. I tried all aspects of healing and therapy in order to make a recovery from my traumas. And after about 20 years of self-help therapy, I made a full recovery at the age of 43, which was around 6 months ago. Out of all of the therapeutic methods that I have tried, the only method of recovery that worked for me was to find forgiveness. I had to find forgiveness for both of my two abusers that abused me throughout my whole childhood. Both of my two abusers got away with it, and the only way I will ever get justice for what they both did to me is if I help the millions of other adult survivors out there who were also abused as children. The only way that I will ever find complete justice and peace in my soul is if my 26 years of suffering, right up until 6 months ago, that I suffered throughout my whole adult life, was not for nothing. If my 26 years of adult suffering helps other survivors recover, only then will I find peace in my soul. I want for my 26 years of suffering to not have been a waste of life, to not have just been absolute suffering for such a long time. I'm 44 years old now, and I'm only just starting to be happy and live my life the way I want to, because I'm no longer suffering. I'm only just starting to actually, they say life begins at 40, perhaps that was the case for me, but I just want all of that time throughout my whole adult life, throughout my late teenage years, all through my 20s, all through my 30s, I suffered throughout the whole of my younger years. My life has passed me by. My life has flown by with just all of that suffering. And I don't want it to be a waste of life. I want to use it for a good purpose. I want to put it to a good cause and a good use. I became a therapist to help myself and other people. And I feel now that I've made a full recovery myself, I'm in a position where I can help other people recover. I can help other adult survivors recover probably over a 6-month period to 1 year of therapy in order for them to make a full recovery like what I have, so they do not have to suffer through 20 years of therapy like what I had to do. I know what works. I know what helped me and what did not help me. There is lots of help out there if you look online for childhood trauma, childhood sexual abuse. But all of that current help that is out there is rudimentary, and the right help is not fully understood. Another problem, as well as adult survivors who have suffered childhood trauma, not only do they have the pain, the emotional, extreme emotional pain from their trauma, they tend to, it's very common that a lot of survivors of trauma, they turn to vices to numb their pain and suffering and to make themselves feel better, like using drugs, alcohol, and they can have problems with their weight. Some of them struggle to eat enough and are very underweight, and others, they overeat. They turn to food for comfort, for self-love, to make themselves feel better. Well, I also specialise in all of those therapies, and it's not normal drug therapy, drug addiction treatment. It's not normal alcohol help. It's not normal help for weight control, because it's drug and alcohol misuse and weight control specifically for adults who've had childhood trauma. It's not the same as other people who have not had traumas, because the trauma is the key to the problem. The trauma that they suffer makes it a different approach to how you would approach if somebody had not had these traumas. And you don't necessarily have to have suffered the abuse that I have had. It could be any childhood trauma that is causing problems with drug addiction, alcohol dependency, and problems with weight control. It could be any trauma at all. And I specialise in those areas for adults who have suffered from childhood trauma. And if you would like to find out more about the services that I offer, I have some other videos on my YouTube page. One is hypnosis for weight control for people who've had childhood trauma. There is one on there which is healing childhood sexual abuse and addiction. And there is one on there, hypnosis for childhood sexual abuse memories. So if you'd like to check those other videos out, they'll give you a better idea of the service I provide. I offer my therapy services in person for those that can attend where I am in the south coast of England in the UK. And I also offer online remote therapy also, where you can have a therapy session online. And I hope that I have been able to give you enough information about the work I do in the childhood trauma sector. And if you would like to get in contact with me, my details are on the written section of this video. So I hope that I've given you an informed information about what I do. Thank you very much for watching.